We got ourselves a brand new episode of Landman Season 2. Episode 4 is now available up on Paramount Plus. I have seen it, and even though the Gaino and Cammy storyline is definitely starting to take shape, the more personal and family side of this story took center stage in this episode. Let's talk about it. I've been waiting all season for this episode, and I know it's only been 4 episodes for this season. Don't worry, I know that. But the opening of this season kind of teased a more personal, family style of story for this season, right? Tommy's father and mother and the family connections that we didn't get to see in season 1 played out a little bit more in this season, and we finally got to see that in this episode, and I thought it was done very, very well. It's obviously a very tragic and emotional episode, and even though I do want to see the oil side and everything going on with Gaino and just that side of this story, this episode needed to happen. We needed to see these types of stories kind of take center stage at some point, and it wasn't just focused on Tommy, everything that he is dealing with his mother and facing his father, coming to terms with his family, and seeing just him and his family navigate what they are going through. But we also saw Cammy, and as she is putting Monty to rest for the first time, and in a way, finally starting to grieve over everything she just went through. I really, really enjoyed that restaurant scene. I thought that scene was so incredibly well done. Maybe the best scene in the episode. There's one that I might put above it that came towards the end of the episode that I'll talk about here in just a second. Billy Bob Thornton and Sam Elliott were incredible, by the way, separately and together, because they both had their moment to shine in that scene, and Ariana was perfectly placed with them in that scene. She was there to ask a specific question, and it led to both of them sharing these different memories that are so extremely different from each other. Tommy opened up with that very awful memory about his mother and finding her in a bathtub that eventually led him to leaving home, and then TL had that very positive memory about rainbows and sprinklers, which I thought was such a great contrast, but ultimately is something that could bring them back together later on in the season. And I say that not just because of everything we saw in the restaurant scene, but because of the scene at the very end when Tommy goes to bring TL home. Just honestly, as I'm talking about it, the best scene in the episode. I thought it was competing with the restaurant scene, but now that I'm talking about it and thinking about it more, definitely my favorite scene in the entire episode. Just the emotions, the personal touch, seeing the father and son come back together, kind of coming to terms with each other, and it has me really excited for what else they're going to do with them going forward. Quickly, before I talk about Cooper and Ariana for just a little bit, this is the best example, in my opinion, on how to use Angela and Ainsley. I thought that they were used great in the episode. I was not annoyed by them. I was not overwhelmed by them. I didn't want them to be there because they were around all of our other characters. They are the comedic relief in a show that has a lot of drama, and if they are used like this throughout the rest of the season, I'm all for it. Now, talking about Cooper and Ariana, we all knew at some point that they would come back around to each other, but I really, really like that they used TL as kind of the anchor to bring them back together. That it wasn't so much on Ariana's side, it was very much on Cooper. He just needed to grow up a little bit. He needed to mature. He's clearly never gone through something like this in his life, and having TL there to kind of just straightforward tell him what is going on and what he's going to experience,